Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today, I will be welcoming back my good friend, Laurie Jacobson. Today is her birthday, but that's not why we are talking. We are talking because Laurie has a book out called TV Dinners, which has the recipes of all of her old TV star friends that her and her husband John Provost have been friends with for many, many years. I'm having her on the show today to talk about it. Also catch up on other things, comment on quarantine, I guess, and lots of other things. I love Laurie. She's one of my favorite people in the entire world and one of my biggest supporters. She always gets me her clients for this show, and I just adore her. And I also like to say happy birthday to Peter Frampton. He turned 70 today. Yes. Peter Frampton, baby, I love your way. Show me the way. Do you feel like we do? So many great songs. He's celebrating 70 today. And I think he was about to do his last tour until quarantine happened. And hopefully it will happen pretty soon after this whole clusterfuck ends. So happy birthday, Peter Frampton, and happy birthday, Laurie. So, here is my new interview with Laurie Jacobson. Hey, Laurie, welcome back.
Well, thank you. Glad to be back, Tommy.
Yeah, it's been quite a while. I know you've been very, very busy. I've been worried about you, but I hope everything is okay.
Yes, everything is good. As you know, I got the virus, but I am 3 weeks out now with no symptoms and have been given a clean bill of health, and I certainly did not have a severe case. You know, I was able to stay home and just ride it out, so... And my husband was very vigilant about isolating and only seeing me with a mask and gloves on, and he didn't manage to catch it. So the way it worked out was just incredibly lucky for both of us.
Oh, that's...
I'm feeling very lucky and blessed and all those good things.
Oh, that's so wonderful. Yeah, I was worried, you know. I even cried. I was so worried about you.
Oh, honey. Well, thanks.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen anybody else I know get it, thank God. But oh my God, why is God taking all these musicians who like never sold a record? It's weird. You know?
Yes, so many entertainers, but you know.
Yeah.
There's really nothing you can say.
Yeah.
I mean, it is wonderful people in all arenas are suffering with this, and you know, and then so many more are suffering without paychecks and stuff. So hopefully we'll come back to some normalcy soon.
Mm-hmm. Hopefully, yeah. This is like part 9/11 and part reboot of that old sci-fi show V.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to somebody not too long ago about a possible reboot of that coming out. You know, but.
My dear friend Richard Hurd was in that. There's somebody you should interview. I'll set that up for you.
Richard Hurd. Wow, I haven't heard that name in a long time.
And he's just a fabulous person.
Mm-hmm.
In his 90s, full of energy and amazing stories. So you got to talk to him. I'll set that up.
Great. If he's got the energy, then I'm all ready to go.
He would really enjoy it.
Wonderful, wonderful. How's your birthday so far?
My birthday, my Earth Day birthday.
Mm-hmm.
I like having my birthday on Earth Day. So far, so good. We got a gorgeous day up here in Santa Rosa, and the emails and texts and phone calls are pouring in. I'm afraid to look at my Facebook page, and so it's nice. It's so nice to be remembered. And a friend of mine up here, the host of Creature Features, he owns about 45 goats, not ghosts.
Ghosts. That was good.
And so we're thinking of going up with a bunch of carrots and feeding the goats today.
Mm-hmm.
So, because nobody else will be up there, so we can socially distance from humans and intermingle with animals. So looking forward to a nice day.
Oh, that's so great. Yeah, just before we started, I was cracking up at John's status about when he told you didn't look a day older.
Oh, what did it say?
Yeah.
What was the last part?
That it didn't go over too well.
Oh, he makes things up. He was very sweet this morning, and he did tell me I don't look a day older, so...
Okay, he was just making a joke then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he thinks he's funny. I tell him all the time, you're just not funny. But, you know.
we all of us who saw it thought it was hilarious.
Well, good.
Yes. So, how did this new book of yours, TV Dinners, come about?
So my book, TV Dinners, a delight to work on and to talk to so many friends. Well, you know, I looked around and I thought, I am so blessed because of John. And for those who don't know and keep hearing John, my husband is John Provost, who played Timmy on Lassie.
Right.
And because of that, I have gotten to meet just about every kid star I ever wanted to meet. Mm-hmm. And I have a bountiful blessing of former child stars in my life. And I thought, what can I do with this wonderful blessing? And, we all love to eat. And John loves to cook, and many of his friends enjoy cooking as well. So I just thought, let me speak to them about what they love to eat or where they loved to go to eat in L.A. During their heyday, and what they like to eat today. And now, first of all, the wonderful thing is Paul Peterson, who was on the Donna Reed show and in many other films and television shows, but is best known for playing Jeff Stone on Donna Reed. He is the big kahuna for the kid stars. Mm-hmm. He was the very first to look around and realize that some of his friends were not succeeding in life after the phone stopped ringing. And that, kid stars were getting a real bad rap and having a difficult time. So he started this marvelous organization called A Minor Consideration.
Right.
And he has literally, personally picked people up off the street and saved their lives. That's how it started in the beginning. One of my favorite stories that he told me was that one of the kid stars in my book, as a matter of fact, was in some terrible trouble, just terrible depression and immobility. And he was still raising funds at that time, Paul, and he picked up the phone. He called Ron Howard. He said, Ron, one of us is in trouble. And Ronnie said, Paul, who is it, and how much do you need?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how things started. You know, the kid stars took care of themselves until Paul, you know, lobbied. He started committees on SAG. I mean, with SAG, there was just nothing for these kids. He's got child labor laws changed both in California and nationally.
Mm-hmm.
So, because of that, I am sending a portion of all my profits to a minor consideration. And because of that, there were no kid stars who were unwilling to talk to me.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everyone loves Paul. They love a minor con. And so everyone was, excuse me,
yeah,
happy to contribute to the book. So that was a wonderful thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh my God, that's great. I was curious, what's the difference between a minor consideration and Jackie Coogan's Law?
Well, Jackie Coogan's Law, Jackie Coogan was one of the very first child superstars
Mm-hmm.
before Shirley Temple. And he made millions. He lost his father in a terrible car accident.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, Jackie was in the car in a rumble seat in the back. Do you know what that was? Rumble seat?
I've heard the term rumble seat from the John Cougar Mellencamp song, but I don't know really what it is.
Well, in the back of the car, you could... It would be like opening a trunk the opposite way, and there was a seat down in there. So, in other words, it was below car level.
Mm-hmm.
So when the car flipped over, Jackie sank down into the rumble seat,
Mm-hmm.
And was not hurt. But his father and everyone else in the car was killed.
Oh.
His mother married pretty quickly, and she and Jackie's stepfather got busy spending every dime that kid ever made. Mm-hmm. Oh, they had so many cars, it was ridiculous. You know, and there'd be pictures of Jackie with his, latest model car, and he's like 7.
Yeah.
So when he turned 21 and was supposed to get all his money, there was no money for him to get. And because of that, they made the Coogan Law so that would never happen again to any working kid star. But it did happen, and it happened over and over again. And it happened to even, Paul's and my husband's peers.
Mm-hmm.
John was one of the lucky ones. His parents saved every dime he ever made. But that was not the case for so many. So the Coogan Law was simply a law that stated and a certain amount of your paycheck after you paid your manager and your agent and your welfare worker that had to be on the set. After you paid all these people, a certain percentage of your paycheck was to be put in the bank and untouchable until you turned 21. But often parents took their minor children to court, and the parents would say, we can't pay the rent, so we want to take out $1,000 of our kids' money. And they were able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
So still, when kids turned 21, there was nothing there for them. A minor consideration got child labor laws changed. For instance, when my husband was working on Lassie,
Mm-hmm.
He could work with temperature as long as it wasn't over 101 degrees.
That's crazy.
You know, there were many more laws that protected Lassie than there were protecting the kid on the show. So Paul has gotten a lot of those laws changed. And so there is something more for working kids than just the Coogan Law, which was easily gotten around.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's very interesting, and God, it's profound. You know, I mean, I remember the last child star I saw who had it pretty bad when it comes to money was Macaulay Culkin. You know, his parents just completely wiped out his bank account, and he made a lot of money in those 4 years or so that he was huge, and he was getting those $10 million paychecks and stuff. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Gary Coleman. You know, there's a lot of hard luck stories with kid stars. But in TV dinners, everybody has a happy ending, and we only have good stories. I mean, you hear that some people had a rough road, but everyone in the book has a happy ending. So it's a great combination of our love of classic TV and comfort food. And so what TV Dinners does is focus on the top television kid stars of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Everyone pretty much from the Mouseketeers to the Brady Bunch. And, you know, one thing is these kids were the first generation of kid stars to appear weekly in our living rooms. At a time when there were only 3 channels to watch, at least a third of the country was watching one of their shows. That's a huge number of people. And they were syndicated all over the world. Mm-hmm. 50, 60, 100 different countries for some of these shows. So at a time before the world was so connected through social media the way it is now, these kids were the connection for an entire generation of people. You know, catchphrases like, "What's that girl? Is Timmy in the well?" or "Danger, Will Robinson," or "Hello, Mr. Wilson." All these wonderful phrases that you could say to anyone the world over of a certain age, of baby boomer age. That was the connection. Mm-hmm. We're instantly friends. So that is the only generation that's going to be true of, with all the different channels now to choose from. And that makes baby boomers really special, and it makes these kids really special to baby boomers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
You know, we didn't just grow up watching them. We watched them grow up on TV. And, you know, so many people fantasized about having them as brothers and sisters and best friends. And so it's really a very warm reunion.
Mm-hmm. I was reading Amazon reviews, and someone wrote that in the book, Bill Mummy has a very bizarre recipe.
Oh, yeah. Yes. Oh, you're trying to get me to spill it, huh?
Yeah. You don't have to.
He has a recipe for something he called the Mummy Super Duper Sandwich. Mm-hmm. Something he and his dad used to build. one of those huge Dagwood sandwiches with everything but the kitchen sink on it. And it's pretty shocking by today's standards, but he used to love it and eat it, and he sent me the funniest pictures to go with it. Mm-hmm. He really dug down into his archive to come up with some things he hadn't printed anywhere else in any of his books or on his website. So there's some fun pictures of him in Superman outfits, both in his heyday and today, and so it's very cute. And then his current recipe is a fantastic soup. Mm-hmm.
I hope that sandwich is not something that would make me gag.
Well, some of them from the early days is like, really? Wow, we used to eat that way, but we all made it, Mm-hmm. Even just the mention of Wonder Bread, today is like, oh my God.
Oh, Wonder Bread's not even as good as it used to be. My mom and I had some not too long ago, and it's just, I don't know, they changed the recipe of it or something. It's just not as good as it used to be.
Yes, I find that very true, that recipes have changed, and, hey, Monopoly pieces are made out of plastic now. They used to be little wonderful metal collectibles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everything's gone cheap. But a lot of the kids mentioned dishes that they love at long gone Los Angeles eateries. But you don't have to have grown up in LA to relate to what they're saying. They went to ice cream parlors and hot dog stands, and it's pretty much a reminiscence of the way life was in most cities and towns in the 50s and 60s, drive-ins, and so, to hear them talk about their favorite places, some of which were very famous, like C.C. Brown's ice cream parlor. Mm-hmm. It's really just a lovely look back at a simpler time in life that we all really enjoyed. It's a very positive look back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, that's great. Yeah, my mom and I, we tried to go to Sonic Burger yesterday, and they were bringing the food out like those sock hops used to do back in the day. And I was just thinking to myself, where's their roller skates?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So I give a bio of each of the 40 kid stars that contributed, and I talk about their show and tell people what the show was, just in case they weren't familiar with it, and then they give me wonderful memories. Mm-hmm. That are connected with their recipes. Like one that I love, it's really a little poignant. Morgan Brittany, mm-hmm. Who's best known for her role in Dallas, but was a hardworking kid actress, and she did 3 classic Twilight Zone episodes for which she is well remembered. Along with, she was a recurring character on Andy Griffith. She was a girlfriend of Opie's, and she's done a ton of work. And she told me a story that she was planning her birthday party. Mm-hmm. Her birthday was coming up. Her mom suggested they have a little party, and she picked this hot dog stand that she loved in the San Fernando Valley called the Hot Dog Show. Mm-hmm. And so they made it at 4 in the afternoon, and she had a commercial to shoot earlier that day, and they assured her that she would be out in plenty of time to make her birthday party. Well, in the commercial, she had to work with a kangaroo who was very uncooperative. And he made the shoot run extra long, get out of there until 5 p.m. And she didn't get to the hot dog show until 6 o'clock. And there was a half-eaten birthday cake and balloons on the floor and a stack of unopened presents and balled up paper napkins. And, you know, such is the life of a working kid. She missed her own birthday party. But when the workers at the hot dog show saw how sad she was, they made her favorite hot dog, and you know, she muddled through. So sometimes they are, you know, you do get the education of what it was like to be a working kid. Because honestly, Tommy, when I was growing up and watching these people on their shows, it didn't look like work to me.
Oh, yeah. It didn't to me either.
Yeah, you know, I mean, we were pretty naive back then in the early 60s anyway. But it wasn't until I wrote John's autobiography with him that I realized how much responsibility these kids are carrying on their shoulders. You know, they're looking at 50 men because there were very few women working at that time. There would be a script supervisor and makeup and hair. Those were the 3 women that were on the set. Everybody else was, you know, guys smoking, and after lunch often drinking. What an atmosphere, you know. But if you didn't know your lines or you were late, these guys didn't get paid. So, you know, you had to show up and be completely professional and ready to do your work. You know, I just had no idea how hard these kids were really working and missing school and having friends their own age. And, you know, it's a tough road. But like I said, all of these kids had happy experiences. And the lovely thing is, for fans, I think, is to see that they are all still friends today. Yeah.
And you know, one thing I noticed too, and I won't name names, but I know you know at least one of them. I've noticed that with child actors, you know, when you talk to them, they're not very engaging. And I think one of the reasons why is because acting at an early age, you know, they're told to keep their mouth shut and do as they're told. You know?
Yes.
I was thinking about that the other day. And I think it's very profound and very interesting.
Yeah, but they do, as adults, have wonderful stories to tell.
They do. I mean, I found Michael to be very engaging. I actually thought he was more engaging than most of the former child actors that I've talked to.
Michael McGreevy, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, he's in my book as well. And he's just a delightful man. He really is. Yeah, so, you know, it's I love that they're all still friends today. They really are. You know, there was just a small group of kids working on TV, and I just about have them all. And because they still get together, I have photos of them together at all ages, back in their heyday and, you know, just yesterday, hanging out, eating, going to birthday parties of their friends. So there's over 150 photos in the book. And I think, like I said, it's just a delight to revisit all the warm and wonderful feelings that we shared watching their shows.
Mm-hmm. And you do a tribute to Patty Duke and Annette Funicello in the book I was reading. Did you know them well?
I did not know them. They're the only two people in the book that I never met. But they were so important in television history. For me, Annette is the queen of the kid stars. You know, she was of a certain age. She was every guy's first crush, and probably a lot of girls too. But she was it, and she never had that awkward moment from the moment she was on the Mouseketeers, through all the beach party movies, as a spokesperson for Skippy Peanut Butter. You know, she was a stunning beauty. She was as lovely on the inside as she was on the outside. Everyone adored her. I just got so many wonderful stories from people who knew her, who grew up with her. And as some of your listeners may be aware, she got MS pretty early on in her life. I think she was about 50 when she had her first symptoms, and she lived with that disease for 25 years. So undeserving. And she had a really blessed life until that moment. But she grabbed the opportunity to talk about the disease and educate people and raise money. She was an amazing woman, and so there was just no way in hell I was going to leave her out of the book just because we had never met. And I found a couple of wonderful recipes of hers, and I spoke to many of her friends and former Mouseketeers and got some wonderful information about her. And then Patty Duke, forget about it. You know, I was glued to the Patty Duke show, and what a talented, incredible woman. And again, you know, she also had some very difficult issues in her life, bipolar when she didn't know it. Imagine being bipolar and playing twins. I can't even imagine what she had to go through. Mm-hmm. And being raised by very mean relatives. So she had an incredible survivor story, and left us with so much joy in our lives because of her hard work. So I had to put her in there too.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. I liked her a lot too, especially when she was Helen Keller, Miracle Worker.
Oh yeah, unbelievable. What? And so young, you know, so young, so much talent. Yeah, she knocked the entertainment world on their ear when she came out and won many awards. She was appearing at an autograph show several years ago, and I sent Davy Jones from the Monkees to that same autograph show. Oh. And he called me afterward, you know, because Davy didn't love doing those shows, but he loved meeting the fans, but he'd rather spend time with his horses. But the show was very close to where he lived, so he went and he called me afterward and said, "Oh my God, I got to meet Patty Duke." And, you know, he was so delightful, but that, you know, he also was a ginormous fan of hers, so who wasn't?
Yeah,
I was delighted to be able to include her.
Yeah, I wish I could have met Davy. He was my favorite monkey when I was growing up. And
mine too.
yeah, and my mom, she was a dispatcher for the cable company for many years. She had a friend who actually went to his house in San Francisco and fixed his cable a few times, and he had all these beautiful women there.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah. But you've gotten to know so many people you grew up watching, as I have too. But is there anybody else that you never got to meet that you loved from TV?
Yeah, I have. Well, I've only met Barry Williams a few times from the Brady Bunch, and he very kindly offered to be part of the book when I called him. We don't know each other very well, but I had a ball talking to him. He is so open and kind, and I really, really like him. And his recipe from today is something he and his wife Tina concocted in their laboratory. Mm-hmm. They worked for weeks and weeks on this chicken dish, a Mediterranean chicken dish. Mm-hmm. That this week they tried a little of that. The next week they tried a little of this until they got it just where they liked it. And for me, they had to go back and think of how they might be able to write it down, and they did. So they did put a little extra elbow grease into giving me their recipes for that, which I really appreciated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm friends with the actress who played Greg Brady's wife in the reunion movies, Karen Richmond, who played Gidget in the 80s. And yeah, she said Barry Williams is a great guy.
Yeah, really natural, not... listen, I don't think any of the kids in the book are stuck up or full of themselves, Mm-hmm. That was something untypical of this generation, this generation of kid stars. I mean, listen, they weren't making the big giant salaries. And there was really nothing to gauge their success on. And they worked hard. The television seasons were much longer back then mm-hmm. than they are now. Now 12 episodes is a season. Back in their day, they were doing 25 episodes and working 9 months out of the year. And then the other 3 months, they were sent out to publicize their show. So they were constantly working, and they really didn't have a clue mm-hmm. About their fame. So they're a very down-to-earth, sweet bunch of kids. I call them kids.
Yeah, I know their seasons were long back then. I don't know how they did it. I got to interview James Drury 2 weeks before he died, which was so surreal to me. It's just, I feel like I have a responsibility now to interview 80, 90-year-old people before they die, And the Virginian, was the first 90-minute series. And he said, it got to a point where it was so much work. He had to miss several episodes each season because he couldn't be in all of them. It was like making a movie each week.
Yes. Yes. I did read that when he passed. We are so lucky to have gotten that time with him.
Oh, God. It was amazing. And the funny thing is, I was supposed to interview him the week before, but we had our time zones wrong. And I was just, oh my God, shocked. I was like, oh God, I hope I didn't fuck it up. I hope I didn't, but I didn't, And one thing I do regret about the interview is, right, he had a role in Sam Peckinpah's second movie that he directed, and I thought it was his first. And we kind of argued about that. But as it turns out, he was right, I was wrong, and stuff. It was Randolph Scott's last movie. I got that right, but it wasn't Peckinpah's first movie. It was his second. But other than that, yeah, I mean, it was such an honor, you know. And then back in January, I interviewed Marion Ross from Happy Days.
Oh, yes.
And Harlan Bowl, he set that up for me, and I'm forever grateful to him for that. And she called me back about 2 hours later, right after I finished another interview. It was good timing, too. And she told me what a gentleman I was and that she had a real fun time talking to me.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah.
Well, we all have a fun time talking to you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. And then the other day I talked to Lydia Cornell from Too Close for Comfort, and now she wants me to be on her podcast.
Oh, super.
Yeah, my first offer, by the way. My
Yay.
First one.
Well, if I had a podcast, I would interview you, too.
You should get one.
Oh, we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, God. Not only would I jump the chance to be on it, I'd listen to it all the time.
Aw. Well, you're awesome.
Aw. Thank you. Doesn't Eliza have a podcast?
Eliza Roberts? I don't know. I would have to check in with her.
I thought I saw on YouTube she was like briefly hosting one, and I don't know if that was the only one, but I could have swore I saw it.
Yeah, she's a busy lady, so
yeah,
that's a possibility.
So what's your idea of a great comfort meal?
Oh, well, you know, I am so lucky. I prayed for a husband who cooked, and I got one. So I don't. I just eat what's put in front of me, and he has a recipe for a pot roast. He loves comfort food, so his recipe for pot roast with all the vegetables and stuff, I really love. And so I guess I'll stick with that one. Now, you know, one thing I realized as I was talking to all these kids was how many of them had a parent who was an actor. Mm-hmm. And, you know, in the 50s, you took your kid with you. You know, if you had an audition, you know, there were no nannies or, you know, for struggling actors or, you know, places you could drop your kid off. So often they took their kids with them to auditions, and that is how many of these kids got started. Billy Gray from Father Knows Best, his mom was an actress, and her agent said, you know, I think I got something for Billy. And the next thing you know, he's a solidly working kid actor.
Is that the same Billy Gray that was on Shazam? The Captain Marvel show?
I am not sure.
Okay.
I am not sure. I don't recall seeing that. But it's unusual for people to have the same name. So.
Michael Gray, that's who it was. Never mind.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't think that was Billy. Mark Kopach from Julia. Mm-hmm. His dad was a working actor, and that's how Mark got discovered. Again through the agent. Rodimus Parra from Kung Fu had an actress mom. Parker Stevenson from the Hardy Boys had an actress mom.
Yep.
So, you know, and they all got discovered by being taken on auditions. Alison Arngrim from Little House on the Prairie.
Love her.
Her parents were both actors.
I interviewed Stefan like a year ago.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was one thing that I learned in all my conversations with these people over the years. I didn't realize that that's how so many of them got into the business. So that was a fun fact. And, the few other people in the book, of course, Wally and the Beeve and Little Ricky and Spin and Marty,
Mm-hmm.
both of the Cartwright girls, Angela and Veronica, Larry Matthews from the Dick Van Dyke Show, Kathy Garver from Family Affair, Butch Patrick from the Munsters, Stan and Barry Livingston. It is really a trip through one of the happiest times in my life.
Mm-hmm. That's just that is just amazing, Laurie. I can't put it into words how amazing that is. It gives me hope for my future. With the path that I'm on now. And stuff. And I have like ideas for books that I want to write in the future. Like I want to write a tell-all book about how fucked up the horror community has been to me since I started this podcast. But
oh, that's a shame.
yeah.
Don't put all your effort into it. Something negative.
Oh yeah. Well, it's still early now, but I'm just saying. There's that, and then there's like there's other things I want to write and stuff. There's people I want to help them write their books.
Yes, absolutely. And you asked me in the beginning. How did I come to write this book? I just looked around and said, what is my gift here? What do I have a lot of in my life? Well, certainly Hollywood has always been my area of expertise. But, I looked around and thought, I am blessed to know all of these wonderful people. Watching them on television as a kid, I never dreamed that I would be lucky enough to call them my friends in real life. And it has just been such a delight for me to get to know them, to love them as the human beings that they are, to enjoy their wonderful stories. So they say do what you love. And boy, this was really a labor of love for me.
Oh, I'm so glad. And do you have any other books that are in the works?
I'm working on a Cars of the Stars book. I have over 200 photos and 100 years, I would say, 100 years of cars. So that it will probably be my next book. And I'm looking forward to that. And I'm also I have been working for years on a book, a really detailed book of the Beatles at Shea Stadium, 1965.
Nice.
And I am inches away from finishing that. And, I found just the most amazing people who were there, who worked on it, who worked behind the scenes, on stage, opening acts, just all sorts of wonderful people who have given me such a bird's eye view of this event that changed rock and roll concert history forever. First concert ever in a baseball stadium, which nobody believed. Not even the Beatles and their manager believed they could ever fill a stadium with 56,000 people. So it changed everything.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's just been a joy. So that's on my desk at the moment as well.
Nice. How's all the victims in Santa Rosa holding up with the ones who lost all their houses?
A lot of rebuilding going on here. We had, a very devastating fire in 2017. We were very lucky. We fled our house in the middle of the night, and we definitely saw flames, but it went in the other direction for us, so we were very lucky. So there's a lot of construction going on and people rebuilding, and a lot of happy signs of life continuing here in Santa Rosa.
Yeah, because I remember when Mom and I were driving out of Santa Rosa last October when we saw you at the convention, we just could not get over just how people's houses were just destroyed and being rebuilt. It was just it was sad, It was like driving through a cemetery, and seeing all the people who died.
Yeah, it was a very hard time, but we're pretty resilient up here. I think that's why we're doing well right now during the shelter in place. We're a good community of gathering together and helping one another. And we learned that lesson pretty well with the fires. So, so we're all good up here, baby.
Oh, that's great. I'm worried, though, about the future of conventions because I see everyone doing these virtual conventions on Facebook, and I'm just like, oh my God, are you serious? I mean, I know you gotta make money, but just it looks awkward to me,
Yeah, I think a lot of, that's just one of the things that's gonna be different when this is all over. I don't think I'll ever fly without a mask on.
Oh yeah.
I've been sanitizing my seat and tray for years already, but now, I always got a cold when I flew, So I just think when we come through this, a lot of things are going to be different.
And that's fine. I mean, as long as they got lots of hand sanitizer, and everyone's got plastic shields in their vendor booths or anything like that. I mean, it should be fine. It should be the same but better.
Yeah, crazy things like I think handshakes will go away.
If we're going to lose the hugging, that's fine with me because I got to go out on the ultimate hug back in February when I was at the East Bay Comic-Con. Christy McNichol hugged me in the picture that we took.
Oh, she's awesome. She's in my book as well.
Oh, she is? Oh.
Yeah. I just love her.
I thank God my mother was there because I was just a loss for words just being there in person, And my mom was like, talking to her, and I'm just standing there staring at that mole because I've been staring at that mole for 30 years.
Yeah, she couldn't be nicer. She looks exactly the same, doesn't she? She looks amazing.
She's ageless. She looks just like she did, in the 70s, and I couldn't believe it that, that I was there talking to her and stuff, and her manager, Patty, we're Facebook friends. Every day she's posting hilarious shit on Facebook.
Yeah, I love Patty, too.
Yeah. And I was
Chrissy was one of the first people to come on board with my book. She just loved the idea and was so happy to contribute something.
Yeah.
She's a cool chick.
She is. I was looking forward to Powerhouse Con this summer because Linda Miller, she's been on the show, and she is just a sweet lady. Do you know her?
I don't.
Yeah, because she was in King Kong Escapes in 1967. That's her only movie credit. And she has a great story about how she got that. Father was in the military. She was stationed in Japan when she was 17, and she got in the movie to play the lead white woman in it. And she was scheduled to be there. And the little boy, the main little boy, Boy Scout from Destroy All Planets, Carl Craig, was scheduled too. And I don't know what Dave and Marina are doing. I don't know if they've canceled all the cons this summer yet, but God, it would be great to go and meet them.
No, that one's still scheduled to go forward.
Good.
So, we will see. We will, it's just a wait and see what happens now.
Yeah, and they showed Destroy All Planets on Creature Features last Saturday, and they cut out the first 5 minutes of it where they're showing the introduction with the robot voice and the credits. They cut that all out, and I was commenting on YouTube, because I watch it on YouTube, because I'm up here in Reading and stuff. And I just was like, oh, God, you gotta keep the first 5 minutes. I mean, sure, it's written in Japanese, but still, you gotta educate the young people watching.
Oh, it was written in Japanese. Oh, how funny!
Yeah, the opening credits.
Of course, yeah, we watched it too.
Yeah,
you never miss a Creature Features.
Yeah. Oh, I love the guests too that they've been getting. Just had Norman Greenbaum on there.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good buddy of ours. We love Norman.
I told my dad, and he was like, I thought he died a long time ago.
No, he's still kicking.
Yeah. That's hilarious. But, so that's amazing that you got that book, Laurie, and I hope everyone responds to it with such kindness and they love it.
Well, thank you, sweetie. And let me just say, you mentioned Amazon. It's available on Amazon. It's available at tvdinnersbook.com.
Mm-hmm.
That will go straight to my publisher. And you can also go to my website, lauriejacobson.com. And if you want to order it from me directly, I have copies here, which I can sign to you. So you have three ways to get the book.
Awesome.
It's also on Target's website. So, it was scheduled to go into a lot of stores. Many of those stores are closed at the moment, but Target is operating at least online. So, so it's all over the place.
Oh, that's great. That's so great. And a couple weeks ago, I wrote this joke. Oh my God, it is so wrong.
No.
I told this. I told it to somebody. Who did I tell it to? I told it to somebody. She laughed out loud at it. I said, how do you fuck your sister in a moral